Skerry Harbour on the east coast of Ireland, a scene of great tranquility. Another day ends on one of the most beautiful little secrets, a little north of Dublin. Across the road, Joe May's pub waters the cognoscenti of real road racing. I'd heard all sorts of stories about the Skerries, the narrowness of the circuit and the speed of the riders and how close they were to the crowd. Rumour had it that should you not pull up your feet when they go past the wall you're sitting on, their helmets would hit your shoes. There was something breathtaking about the naked intent of bringing racing so close to the spectator. And other than the Northwest 200, no race in the world allows such proximity to races at speed. There was a lovely feel to the Skerries, and even though a handful of the world's best bike racers were signing on to compete, it was like walking into a village fete. Everyone thinks of Joey, but Robert Dunlop is equally a genius on the bike and strongly outside the shadow of his older brother. A winner on the TT course at his first attempt, like Joey, he hailed from Ballymoney and won the 1983 Newcomers 350cc Manx Grand Prix. In 1989, he scored his first TT win in the 125 class with a new lap record of 103 miles per hour.
We're like two pigs here. No. It's obviously not switched on.
A year later, he repeated his success in the 125, improving the lap record to 104 miles per hour. And again, for the following year, he scored a double victory and took the 125 race for the third year in succession with a record 103 and a new single lap record of 106 miles per hour. And so it goes on. He won at the Northwest and was surely going to win again at the Skerries. And there he was, in this tent, Robert Dunlop. The handbooks talk of leading riders having raced here, including the irrepressible Sammy Miller, the magnificent Tommy Robb, and the remarkable Robert Dunlop, along with Adrian Archibald and local boy done good, Martin Finnegan. Joey Dunlop notched up no fewer than 17 wins at the Skerries and held the outright lap record from 1999 for 3 years. The first race took place on July the 6th, 1946, with the start and finish in the Skerries main street. Just under 3 miles, it has been raced anti-clockwise since 1978, though, in order to reduce the speed of the riders through the start-finish area, a chicane was introduced on the section between Sam's Tunnel and Hills Cricket Club. The riders come in like bucking broncos, warring gladiators on their metal machines. What propels a man to ride between telegraph poles and hedgerows at speeds that had outrun a small plane? I did not know, but they did. Time and time again, to pit their bravery and their wits against their destiny. Skerry riders.
People look at me and go, "Oh, you're a bit small to be riding a bike," but you look at Robert Dunlop and you think, how did he ride those Nortons? He's just petite, isn't he? He's tiny, and bless him, he's all like battered from all those crashes he's had, and it's amazing that he can still ride a bike, and he's quite an inspiration, really.
The Dunlop family is not a small one. Alongside Robert, a partnership of the whole family includes son William and nephew Sam, son of Jim.
I like it, I must say. It's one of my favourite road races. The roads are a lot narrower and it's a lot shorter of a circuit, but it's quite hard, you know, because it's quite bumpy. It's got jumps and it's got wheelies, and the fact that it hasn't rained here for something like 35 years on the actual race day, you know, it makes it a great race, and it's quite close to Dublin, so you get very big crowds here.
The Wizard of Oz has arrived. Cameron Donald started racing at 15 and soon became one of the fastest riders in Australia. Team managed by Yule Duncan Racing, he was here to beat local boy Martin Finnegan, an upset unheard of in recent years.
I've always raced motorcycles, from motocross, speedway. I like all disciplines of motorcycles. I still race my dirt bikes. circuits with the road bikes, and then that's led me onto the roads.
Local hero Martin Finnegan had won the event so many times, he virtually owned the trophy. I caught him in his trailer before the great battle with Donald began.
Look at the TT, and why fellas like John McGuinness and all these top names want to come and do the TT. It's just a passion.
The road circuits are just so much more of a challenge, so much more you against the circuit compared to a closed circuit competition.
I think most road racers, and road racing I think is the ultimate sport.
It's much more of a challenge as a rider to get a street circuit perfect because of the imperfections on the track, because of the bumps and the fences and whatnot. It's the ultimate challenge to try to beat the circuits.
At Hills Cricket Club, the atmosphere was simply great. Steaks were barbecued in the car park while beer flowed on the lawn. The local townspeople are passionate about the event, and even though it usually clashes with the British Grand Prix at Donington, the Skerries crowd wouldn't dream of going. They say about racing around here that time is just a statistic, but pure road racing is a way of life.
How nervous do you get on race day?
I get quite nervous, actually, yeah. I think it's probably just adrenaline, you know, that's all. But I do. Some lads, my young lads doesn't seem to bother them, but me, I do get nervous, yeah. I'm nervous now, I mean.
Race day's definitely not my favourite day at the track. I like the build-up to a race. I love after a race, but actual race day itself is not a day I'd say I enjoy. Until I'm on the bike with the helmet on, then it's all clear, but everything else is just a bit of a anxious blur.
I normally sit in the truck on my own, you know, for a while and just sit down and go through things in my head and check over the bike, you know, and go through that sort of stuff.
Leading up to like the senior TT, I've never been so anxious. I felt almost ill because you build up to it and taking off once at a time, unlike a mass grid, it just builds the nerves so much.
That's one of the things I don't like about racing, you know, because especially at an international, for example, the Northwest or the Isle of Man TT, because there's obvious dangers out there, you know, although you don't think about it, it must be in the back of your mind somewhere in your subconsciousness, and I suppose you worry about it. It's not fear, you know, but it's just adrenaline because you expect yourself to do well even though you know that something silly could happen, you know.
You're doing what you love doing, so you don't look at the bad end of it.
It's something that doesn't come into your mind while you're racing. It's not a case of gritting your teeth and holding your breath. It's a case of calculated risks. So you definitely don't go into a blind corner with your teeth grit, hoping you're going to pop out the other side. I've thought it over in my mind at how fast I can take that corner with experience in other corners, and then from there I ride the track. So it is calculated.
Attention, paddock. Here's the grid for the grand final at the end of the day. Front row, 86, 13, 10. Second row, 45, 71.
Like Rossi and his dad, Rutter and his. Robert, William and Sam Dunlop were on the line together, a great motorcycling dynasty.
So Robert Dunlop, number 4, in the lead, is best of a 95.976. Mark, will it be Robert Dunlop? Will it be Mark Curtin, the new lap record holder? It's Robert Dunlop. When they thought he was beaten, Joey pulled the finger out and lifted up lap record that day to over 105 miles an hour. Not bad for an old man of his age at the time. Younger than me, of course.
Everybody knows about Joey. I mean, how do you put that kind of thing to the back of your mind? What's the technique?
I don't know. As I say, it's quite difficult. I'm not sure whether Joey got nervous or not. I'm sure he probably did, but some people, I think, can hide it better than others, you know.
I think it helps. I think when you're in that mental state, I think that's when you perform your best.
Well, I think that my nerves does enhance my performance because it pumps the adrenaline. I mean, my heart's going like twice as fast as it normally would even now, you know, and I've still got about 10 or 15 minutes left, you know, before the race, so I think it's a good thing. I think it's positive.
The paddock was open to everyone. Families gathered as girlfriends and wives looked on apprehensively, and children were carried on their dad's shoulders.
You've got your sons, you know, racing. You know, if you're in a race with them, how do you feel if you're undertaking or overtaking them? You know, what do you think?
I don't mind. I think it's good fun, you know, because they always give me a bit of stick because I'm obviously a good bit older than them, but I enjoy passing them, you know, because I usually lift my bum up and show them my backside or something. But it's all good fun.
At speed on the circuit, what are you thinking about? What's that zone we all hear about?
It's just concentration, basically, you know, you're just concentrating further ahead of you. I know that cameras on bikes doesn't give you a true picture. I mean, even whenever I rode the Norton, which was capable of 190 mile an hour down Anti-Port Rush, I could focus on somebody and pick somebody out of the crowd, even at that speed.
Places like the TT, you could be riding along and you'd sit and thinking, God, I wonder what we're having for dinner tonight or where we're going. Then you have to tell yourself, oh, back to the job, you know.
I often used to see on short circuits people qualifying on the same tyres and the same conditions, they would go faster in the race. The only difference in the race is their mindset.
I'm a great believer in that speed comes from the mind. I mean, pretty much anybody in the paddock could ride a bike, you know, physically. They just don't have it mentally, so it's all mental.
A good bike racer has to be competitive, has to be determined.
Obviously, you got to have courage. You got to have confidence in yourself and in your machine.
I think it's just hard work and effort. I think you get back out of it what you put into it.
Confidence does play a big part. Obviously, you know, the right rubber and, you know, and a good bike, and, you know, it's a combination of things, but most of it comes from the mind.
I asked Robert the question everyone perhaps wanted to know. Why did he do it?
I don't race for Robert Dunlop, I race for the Dunlop name, you know, and the legacy that Joey has left behind.
I'm sad to report that I stood at that bit of ground out in Tallinn the day before my son was married. It was very important. If I was going to Tallinn, I was going to pay my respects to the great man himself. I think we all appreciate what he did in the world.
Stephen Davison, author and photographer of Ragged Edge, one of the most beautiful books dedicated to road racing I have ever seen. Stephen is as devoted to photographing racers as racers are devoted to racing. It's a similar need. There could be no modern day sport without either of them, because history in the making cannot possibly exist if no one knows about it.
Race. It's the biggest race in the south of Ireland and the biggest crowd, 30,000 people here lining the banks. A lot of airtime, bikes are in the air, a lot of places around here. Gillies Leap in particular is really fast. Up through Sam's Tunnel, it's really spectacular when they come back out into the sunshine. It's a fantastic race and it's really tight racing as well. Down in the Dublin corner, everybody's sideways. It's not like a road race, it's more like a short circuit down there. And it's a grandstand view for everybody sitting up there.
As part of the Irish road racing calendar, the Skerries is an incomparable event and is effectively a mini TT. Comparisons with gladiatorial Rome comes to mind. How can it not be when racing here is clearly about life and death?
One of the great things is where everybody can be to watch. You can just, right beside the road, you're stupid enough, foolish enough, you could reach out and touch them. Sam used to pull some awesome wheelies here. He was killed in a race in the north at Corridor. But there's a plaque over here commemorating Sam. And the bikes come up through here. It's really spectacular on their side, front wheel way up in the air. Sometimes two wheels in the air, and the big bikes, something else. Pure Skerries, pure scary.
People say, oh, you must know it really well, but the small back road bit I'd never drive on a normal day, you know. Like I haven't done one lap of the course till yesterday evening since last year's race.
Martin Finnegan would be the local hero. He lives just up the road in Lusk. He was sort of born and bred within sight of the course, and he's a real expert. We've been driving around here every day, so he knows where he's going, he knows every bump on that road, and he knows how to get both wheels in the air over them as well. It's hard to get a handle on because it's something we just can't comprehend. Ordinary mortals can't do that.
A lot of people in the crowd will probably say you'd have to be nuts or mad to ride a circuit like the street circuits because of the danger involved and the risks and whatnot.
It's not something anybody can really understand unless you're able to do it. It's outside our realm of knowledge. I've been around it for a long time and I have no idea how the hell they do it.
I think when you speak to the riders, they're the calmest bunch of sensible guys around. They've just all started off riding slow and got faster over a period of time, so going that quick doesn't seem that crazy to them.
I think a big part of it is not thinking about what can go wrong, and it takes a very strong mind to be able to do that as well, to kind of figure the thing out that you're not thinking about what might happen, and you're able to do the kinds of things that they're able to do on a bike and these kind of surroundings with all this furniture, trees, telegraph poles, lamp posts, curbs, hedges, banks, it's all there. And I think, you know, they're able to sort of suspend that information somewhere and just ride the road.
I find adjusting to the speed easy, you know, and I put a lot of effort into it and a lot of practice into it. I think this is what brings it on.
At the highest level, it takes a really special kind of person to be able to do that. Cameron Donald has been here today, and he's never saw the place before. Last night was his first practice, and he beat Martin.
So nice, a young lad, so much natural talent.
I've seen him at the TT.
Nothing seems to faze him, nothing bothers him.
Very down to earth, grounded guy. Seems really nice.
Yale has a brilliant eye for spotting talent. He just gets that feeling. This guy can go places.
He's special on a bike, road racing. He's just really special. He's sort of eclipsed everyone else.
He comes with the attitude, I know I can go out here and learn this, and I know I can win here. And it's just unbelievable the confidence he has, and he knows that it's now safe to push this speed. Or if it's not safe, he will not push it. He'll just back off that a little bit, but stay on the pace. He's just an amazing young man.
He's turning up and putting everybody else to shame.
No, straight into it.
Just before the flag, tensions are high. In seconds, the lads will be at 160 miles an hour before Dublin Bend.
Goes to Skerries, and that's Martin Finnegan's track. That's, you know, hello, I'm Martin Finnegan. This is where I'm going to do really well. And he just obliterates it, doesn't he? And he's getting lap records and winning everything. And same at the Southern 100. He was the first newcomer to win the last superbike race of the day, and the last person to do that before him was Joey Dunlop. So what does that say about him as a road racer? He's very special.
To know that you're the best, then you know, you got a psychological advantage on your fellow competitor.
How's that feel in a word, Cameron? Just give us a few words.
Makes everything worthwhile.
Yeah, please, buddy.
Fantastic.
Yeah. What a great ride, eh?
Yeah, I think I was really determined to be first in the turn one, and I locked the front. The tar's melting over there, so I ran wide, and that got me double angry, and it was just was a real eventful race. Got a few rocks and broke the screen, and so that makes it feel a bit faster when you're getting a face full of air, but it was great to be able to hold Martin off. Thrilled.
Fantastic, well done. Thank you very
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Come on, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Martin, just a quick word, how do you feel about that?
That was good. It was a really, really good race. You know, I'm happy with it. Cameron pushed really hard. I think the two of us had a good old battle and close enough race.
Very close, eh?
Yeah, but it was very hot out there too. The tyres melting really bad now, you know, so it was a really enjoyable race.
You feel you rode well?
Yeah, it was a good race, really good race.
Any reason why you didn't just pit him?
Just not good enough on the day, you know, just having the pace. Cameron's bike seems to have a little bit of the legs of mine, you know, but still a really good race. He's riding very well at the minute.
But there's nothing in it, eh?
No, not much in it, no, not much. But good race.
Yeah, the race was fantastic. Got a good clean start led into the first turn. I saw at the first hairpin that it was Martin behind me. Knew he'd be the man to beat, so I just worked hard at being consistent. Try to break him as soon as possible to get clear. Try to avoid any last lap challenges from him.
You'll find road racing of all motorsports is probably the riders have the most respect for each other, you know. Everyone gets on really well together and everyone has a good fun together when it's all over, you know. There's no real rivalry.
He had 6 wins on the trot until that race, so it was a little personal goal for me. It was going to be difficult to beat him anywhere. It would have been here on his home track, so that was a bit of a challenge for myself, but we're good friends.
Can't say myself riding that long, you know. Robert, I think, is the exception to the case. He's a long time riding, and I don't think I'd like to race that long.
I don't find it hard to be ordinary, you know. I come from a very humble background, never had nothing, you know. Financially, my parents were quite poor, which is something I regret, actually. But they were, I think my dad was a millionaire when it comes to the love for his children and vice versa. But I just want to write the Dunlop name into history books for as long as I can, and hopefully my sons then after me, I'll keep it going.